Hello and welcome to Clay Shooter TV. On the programme this month, Drennan will be reviewing a great looking over and under from Rizzini. Unfortunately, Simon can't be with us this month, so we'll be taking the opportunity to look back at the key points he's covered so far. Don't forget, you can watch all of our past episodes via the playlist.
Now for a driven target, maintaining lead is going to be very difficult because one would be placing the muzzle directly in front of the target, therefore we can't see anything. So for the purposes of today, we're going to use the two remaining styles, which are swing through and pull away, otherwise known as the method. Now a little sideline on swing through, be very clear that when you put the muzzle behind the target, that it's tight in. Okay, I've got a term which is negative lead. A lot of people will tend to put the muzzle in miles behind, put all the power into catching up, just taking, just past the target, and therefore they're missing behind. So swing through, just to recap, as the target's released, get the muzzle in nice and tight, power through, positive lead, take the shot. The second style is pull away, obviously otherwise known as the method. Slight variation. Again, target's released on the call of pull. As we see the target, we immediately mount onto the clay. So we're literally putting the muzzle on the target to then accelerate, pull away to the desired lead to then take the shot. Target from 12, 1 and 2 on the feet, nose over toes, slightly forward. Stock of the gun by the chest, muzzle into relation to topography, and of course not forgetting at this point we would ensure that we've got our safety features on glasses, earmuffs and hat. Let's take a look at the shot. The target is leaving the stand, if you like, towards 12 o'clock. So our feet as a right-handed shooter are going to be at 1 and 2 o'clock, muzzle pointing out at 12 on the hold point. Of course, if you're left-handed, you're going to reverse that round. Target's going out at 12, your lead foot's going to be at 11, and indeed back foot at 10. So we're mounting the gun up in the cheek, obviously remembering our foot position, weight forward, cheek firmly down. That's another key point. Don't want to be lifting the head, allowing the muzzle to flip. So head forward, down on the gun, and we release the clay. And we're looking at it and we're thinking, where is there a focal point, a reference point, a fixed point to that target where I can now hold my gun in readiness? Here in front of stand 10, we're quite blessed. We've got quite a few trees. So I'm looking at a couple of the twigs on the side of one of the stems, and Adam will cut over to that very shortly. That's my hold point. That's where I see the target at its earliest to take the shot. So I'm then going to drop my muzzle just ever so fractionally, say, an inch, whatever, something. And that's me then ready, set up for the shot, pre-mounted. On the call of pull, the clay will be released. And as I stare at the clay in that split second, it's a minuscule lift and then take the shot. It's really fast. And when we've talked about timing in the past as being 1, 2, 3, I actually see this as literally a 1, 2. It's very quick. Blending in the other style of gun half down, my personal opinion on that would be that the whole point would be pretty much exactly the same, if not just a fraction lower, for the simple reason that on the release of the clay, once it's visible to the shooter, you've got this minimal movement into the cheek to take the shot, because of course we're not pre-mounted. From the perspective of the target, you're looking to put the muzzle on or just underneath, as our target's very flat. If it was sort of fractionally higher at what I call a mid-height, one might just blot the target out. i.e. cover the target with the end of the gun, the muzzle. If it was really high, then you might see yourself shooting at or just above the target. You may have heard the term shoot its hat off. They're just fine adjustments depending on the angle of the target. Now assume that to the right of your screen I've got a mirror on the wall, so I'm now facing it, and I've got my dot just half an inch below my eye level. I'm a right-handed shooter. I'm going to stare at that dot. That dot's 12 o'clock. So my feet are going to be 1 and 2 o'clock in relation. Remember, if you're a left-handed shot, your feet would be 10 and 11 looking at the 12 o'clock dot. Okay, so I'm here, nice and relaxed. I've got my nose over my toes on my left foot, right-handed shooter. And I'm going to show gun down, okay? So traditional gun down, sort of stock, beginning of the rib cage, side of the chest, okay? It's relevant to all mounting, but let's just for today start from there. So I'm looking at my dot. I've got the muzzle, the end of my barrels, not the bead, the end of the barrels, just a little way below the dot, 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, no more than that. But I'm staring at the dot on the mirror, and then from there I'm very slowly pushing the muzzle onto the dot as I bring the stock up into the cheek, okay? So again, I'm looking at the dot, mounting the muzzle on the dot. As the stock comes into the cheek, breathe, and then let it back down nice and slowly. Now, nice methodical practice, nice and slow. It's almost a bit of a workout actually. You'll feel the calf muscles, the core muscles, bicep, tricep, all pulling. If you feel that, at least you know you're doing it correctly. When you've mounted the gun up onto the dot, the important thing is that your eye is sat on top of the flat rib on top of the barrel. So what I mean by this, let's just say you've got blue eyes, that the blue disc, the blue circle, is sat on top of this flat rib, okay? So you can see the dot, you can see what you're looking at. A thing that's sort of underestimated and sometimes overlooked is target reading. Now it sounds so utterly simple and oh yeah, you know, that goes left to right, that does this, but actually really understanding the flight line of a particular target. And I think this is what catches most people out. Now your course setter, even though we're talking about practice here, he or she is going to try and catch you out with angles, speeds, size of clay, etc., etc. So actually really being aware of how to read said target, combined with your, you know, technical self back here in your own style, is then the perfect synergy to start breaking clays. So think about line, think about speed. Everyone thinks that stuff's quite fast and that they've got to be aggressive. But 75%, 80% of the time is something very different. Target reading, understand the clay, understand the direction, understand the speed, and then relate that back to your gun, your muzzle speed, your movement, your style. That's something I would absolutely be focused on. I think it's where most people fail. So be absolutely aware. And actually this comes down to focus, because ultimately confidence focus is almost like the sort of magic potion that makes all these other things come alive. You know, if we're not committed, you can have all the stuff in line and everything else working, but it's not going to work properly. So you've got that focus, you've got that concentration. Make sure that muzzle speed is consistent and that it only falls off after you've pulled the trigger and taken the shot. A trick that can be entertained, although I'd sort of like it, but I don't, is to actually operate your style with obviously this end being absolutely perfect, stance, yada, 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 feet, gun, style, mount, everything. And just say you can't hit that crosser. Start with a minimal lead, you know, whatever it is. Don't get into measuring, just, you know, just past it, shoot, miss. Next one, just past it a little bit more. And basically, incrementally, extend your lead until you connect. Now, it's sort of fun, it does work, and it's a nice sensation then when you break it, which feeds confidence, which in its own right is a really good thing. But what I want you to start thinking about and trying to get in your mind, and maybe it's a stepping stone to this, is actually using timing. Timing where you're moving that muzzle just a little bit quicker than the target, that sort of, pendulum motion where the gun's a bit quicker than the clay. Now, obviously that doesn't relate to maintained because you're matching the speed of the clay, but then you don't have to shoot maintained on all targets. So, all of this is conditioning, but ultimately, and most importantly, it's finding how you best shoot, you as an individual. Nothing to do with anybody else or how an instructor shoots or a top shot. Everybody's different. So there could be the tiny nuance from said right to left clay. You might have a dominant left eye, but you might be right shouldered. And there's that chat about it comes into the non-dominant eye and you feel it's more lead and all that talk. Or bring your head round further, pick it up with the dominant eye, and then put your approach into practice. Tiny nuance, tiny detail, but put it into practice, take your time and see, obvious comment, what works best for you. So as a final point, and actually really as an overview to the previous points I've made, is when you are at that stand for that target, that you only make the changes or try to understand the fault, so you only make the changes to the parts that require change. So, example, someone can't shoot that right to left crosser, they maybe then go pre-mounted, or they move their feet, or they bend their leg, and they make these sort of huge changes, and actually what they're doing is disappearing off further down the lane of fail. Okay, and most of the time it is usually a micro change that just creates that magic, that brings everything together. Now, the target's low, it's rolling along the ground. We need to get that muzzle down under the line, ready to approach in whatever given style we shoot. Now, if you're pre-mounted, we're bringing the gun up into the cheek, into the shoulder, nice and relaxed. And then we want to push that muzzle down forward. We want to get those shoulders forward, okay? So we're mounting up, coming down, ready to take the shot. What we don't want to be doing in that instance is coming up, feet are okay, bending the legs, and then crouching and slouching down to take the shot. There's so many reasons why it's wrong, I'm not going to list them, okay? But it will make it really hard work. If you're half gun down or full gun down, it's the same thing again. Okay, do your little mantra, bring it down to wherever it should be, and then shoulders forward, muzzle down, ready for the line of the target. Okay, and a point from there, when you are then mounting the gun, it's got to be really firm. It's got to be committed. We know that the perfect mount is up into the cheek shoulder, but it really has got to be refined and tight. Clay's rolling along the ground, okay? Where the clay touches the ledge here is our line of travel. So in effect, as the gun comes up to the target, we're looking at this line here, pulling through where the clay connects to the ground. Now, you would have heard some people say, shoot the rabbit's paw, assuming it's like a real rabbit running and it's got its paws out in front. So that's to do with lead. But it still makes sense because the paw is going to be forward and low. So back to basics. When you're looking at a rabbit clay, stare at the line running through the bottom of the clay. So the styles, you can pull away, you can swing through, you can even maintain lead. Let's break them down. I mean, again, it's such a difficult subject to discuss because we are all so different. Swing through, perfect. Can speed the shooter up a little bit because we think rabbits are really quick. Largely they're not, and they're actually losing speed quite quickly, okay? I remember an old mate of mine, Alan Rhodes, from years ago at West London saying shoot the target up the backside because your swing through is so quick that you pull the trigger and you still give lead. It sounds mad. It actually worked back then, but that's just a nuance back a long time ago. Pull away, That's a really nice style, gives you time to see the target, connect, and then gently accelerate to take the shot. Maintain lead again, if it's something you feel is quick, and for you it feels right to just see it, get in front, move and shoot, then so be it. I think the key is the body and the muzzle in relation to the line of the target, and it's looking where the clay touches the ground. Very easy to think that the rabbit's super quick, but like I say, their speed diminishes very quickly, and they're usually not as fast as you think they are. So control that muzzle speed. It's just a little bit quicker than the target, unless of course you're shooting maintained, in which case it's going to match the speed of the target. The last little nuance that is the main thing that makes the rabbit so exciting is the fact that the clay can jump, and we don't know when or where it's going to do that. At that point, throw care to the wind, just react and take the shot, because that is the fun part about the clay. If you're all still awake, I think I'm going to get Adam to get into another position. I'm going to load up this beautiful Yieldits gun that we've been given by our sponsors, and I'm going to be using some lovely Ely Superb, who are also looking after us on the show, and we're going to shoot some targets. Let's take a look. Pull. 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 Pull.
From breaking targets to breaking stories, you're now watching Clay Shooter TV News. The GB men's trap team are European champions after beating the Czech Republic in a nail-biting gold medal match. The Czech team were 5-3 up, which meant Aaron Heading, Steve Scott and Nathan Hales had to hit all their targets to keep them in the running for gold. Huge congratulations to these three, who must have nerves of absolute steel. In the same event, Nathan Hales and Lucy Hall won a bronze medal in the trap mixed team event, while Tegan Hart, Maddie Purser and Leah Southall claimed bronze in the women's junior trap team event. Phoebe Bodley-Scott, Sophie Herman and Maddie Russell made it a double for bronze in women's junior skeet, with Maddie also claiming the individual bronze medal, while the senior women's team made up of Emily Hibbs, Amber Russer and Alexandra Skeggs claimed bronze in their own team event. Amber Russer had a wonderful competition, also winning bronze individually and gold in the mixed team alongside Ben Llewellyn, making them European champions. It's safe to say that the GB Olympic skeet and trap shooters are a force to be reckoned with across the board. Well done to everyone. BASC is awaiting further details of a banking review after the Nigel Farage scandal shed light on similar issues within the shooting community. Of 325 respondents to a survey in 2021, 43% indicated that they had experienced banking difficulties. The most common difficulty was opening an account, followed by processing online payments, sudden closure of an account, and obtaining credit. If the banking review goes to plan and its recommendations are implemented, there will be safeguards in place to reduce the likelihood of future banking issues in our sector. And finally, don't forget that there's still time to grab your copy of our ultimate guide to clay shooting. There are some awesome prizes still up for grabs, including a Browning shotgun, and you can get your copy via the link below the video. And now let's head over to Drennan for his gun and cartridge reviews. That's all we've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us next month for the last episode of this year.
So, oddly, as you can just see from here, are two cases, because we're going to be reviewing the Rizzini BR460 You're thinking, well, why's he got the cases? Well, because the Rizzini, which is a top competition gun, comes in a compact case. And to give you some idea of how compact this is, here's a rough standard flight case that you get with most guns. So there's the first part of the introduction of just the difference you can see between cases. This case is absolutely lovely. Now we're going to move on to the gun. So I'll just move this monstrosity out of the way. And we'll show you a very beautiful gun. So here it is. The Rizzini BR460 EL. And it's stunning to look at. Where do you start? Well, we'll start at the front of the barrels. Multi-choke, comes with 5 chokes. Currently, here in the UK, this comes in a 30 and a 32, but you do have other options if you do a special order. So you can do a 28, a 29 and a 34 inch as well. 3-inch chambers. High performance, so steel shot proofed, flirty lead, so that's future proofed as well. Double ventilated ribs, so the mid rib ventilated, top rib ventilated, no centre bead on this one, white bead at the front and a hatch rib, so there's no glare on this. I've already had this out yesterday in the sun. Very nice barrels. Boss action, probably the most copied action in the world for over and unders really, and you can hear from that already. That's beautiful. Coming on to the fore end, you'll see some close-ups of this. A nice rounded fore end, and it has got very fine checkering on it, and it's full panel. It covers the whole of the fore end. It's beautiful. It doesn't matter where you put your hand on this, you're going to feel a very nice grip. It's beautiful, lovely checkering. So if you're shooting back towards the action, maybe that's where you shoot, or you may be shooting a dropping clay, or if you shoot in the middle or forward, it's just fantastic. Coming on to the stock, this is the sporting stock. This is a grade 3, look at that for a grade 3. Yeah, there's a few manufacturers out there that would, some of them even have a couple of numbers higher than that. It's a standard sporting stock. It's got the palm swell on these. This is quite a. It's got some timber to it. No pun intended there, although we're talking about wood. It's not chunky, but it's certainly not slim. It's got a lot of presence. If you've got really tiny hands, you might struggle with this particular kind of setup on this stock. However, you can have custom stocks made. As I said, it's a boss action. Now, this has started its life off of being laser engraved, and then it's been finished off by hand. And you'll see from their close-ups, it's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. Coming to the trigger. Now on this one, this is a fixed trigger, but Rizzini have told me that they are going to be bringing out an adjustable trigger, because we really do need adjustable triggers on guns, of whether they're entry level or full competition. This one, it's got a dropout trigger, which you can take out in seconds. There you go. And the beauty about this as well is that not only has it got dropout triggers, but you can't actually see the springs that fire the hammers because they're protected. That's a really cool feature. So the springs are inside whatever you want to call this really. I'll call it the spring protector. That's a really nice, neat piece of engineering there. So if you're on a competition shooting your mainspring brakes, which is highly unlikely, it'll still work because it's in there and it's protected. So the other thing is you haven't got a piece of spring flying around your action and possibly causing other damage. So a detachable trigger, so that really sets the benchmark for it being into the rather upper class kind of shotgun. Simple to put back in. There you go. Single selective trigger ejector, and to select the barrels, it's here at the back of the trigger guard, which is neat. I kind of like that actually. It's a bit like a cola. I really like that. It's out of the way, it's not cumbersome. And just the overall detail and finish of this gun, what they've done. It's beautiful. It's so well finished. Which it ought to be at about £8,500. But you get what you pay for, don't you? And as you'll see from the close-ups, the quality of this it's in abundance. It's absolutely gorgeous. However, what does it shoot like? Because I see lots of guns. You've seen me do this before. You can talk about a gun all day long. It's got a dodecahedron over central locking bite, blah, 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 blah. What does it shoot like? That's what we've got, what guns for. So what does it shoot like? So now that I've said that, I'm going to go out and shoot this and wring the life out of it, because this is supposed to be a full competition gun. So we're going to be shooting some easy stuff, mid-range stuff, and some really hard stuff. And let's see how this performs. So I'll see you on another stand, and you're back here for my conclusion of Rizzini's BR460 EL. So, what's my conclusion of Rizzini BR460 EL? Grade 3. As I said earlier, for a grade 3 gun, that is absolutely outstandingly beautiful to look at. But what did it shoot like? It shot really well. I have got a couple of criticisms with it though. One of them being is I can't adjust the trigger on this particular one, but as I said earlier, Rizzini is saying that they're going to be bringing out an adjustable trigger, which you really need, especially on a full competition gun. What's the other thing that I don't like about it? It didn't particularly get on that well with the barrel selector, but to be honest with you, I've been a bit selective actually there. It works, it's there, it's just a little bit for me, it's a bit clunky, chunky, and I kind of get my finger hitting the trigger guard. That's probably just me and my style of shooting, but that's it. That's the only negative I can find about it. It does exactly what it's designed to do. It is a full clay thrashing gun. What would I change? Was I've read from the list of extras. First of all, as I said, I'd have the trigger changed and I would put an adjustable comb on it and have the stock short. That's it. But honestly, if you're going to buy one of these, you'd have it tricked out anyway. ISI will do that for you. They can even fly you out to the factory. They're the people to contact, or your main dealer. So I've enjoyed shooting this. there is something about this gun that's different. It's just a beautiful machine. It's well thought out, it's well balanced, it glides lovely. You can accelerate the barrels when you need to on close targets, as you'll see from the footage. It's got a steadiness to it as well when you require, especially if you've got something that's really long and you need to get your line and just smooth that line out. So you can pretty much do anything straight away with this gun. It's a gun you don't have to fight. You do have to give it a bit of energy though. It's not like all guns, some guns where you're just very forgiving, let's say like a Browning. It does require effort, but not the sort of effort you would expect on lots of top of the range guns. I'm very impressed with it. I like what Rizzini have done. They've thought it through, they've thought it out, they've put the checkering in the right place, they've got the right kind of radius on the pistol grip. It's very hard to criticise a gun like this because, well, they've just thought everything through, really. But they have really, because now they're changing that trigger. All in all, it's a very, very capable gun. It's certainly capable of you getting onto a podium with it, or if you're not interested in that sort of level of shooting, it's certainly going to enhance your shooting. It's definitely designed for that, and it certainly will amplify your capabilities. So well done to Rizzini for that. And on another note, I love the fact that a gun like this, you can take the triggers out, get them cleaned. It's a very easy, simple, beautiful, fantastic machine from Rizzini. And on that note, I'll see you again. Today, we're going to be reviewing Fiocchi's Lite Speed. It's the 26 gram cartridge, and it's quite a favourite over here in the UK. Comes in plastic and also comes in fibre. Translucent case with a 6-star petal crimp on it and an 8mm ferrule. To be honest with you, it doesn't look anything fantastic. The box looks, as always with any Italian companies, pretty good. I've actually already shot this last year. I was very impressed with it as well. But that was in the plastic version, and on this review we're going to get to be doing both. This cartridge was originally designed to meet not really a competitive shooter, it was more designed for people that are watching their budget. However, it's actually turned into something very different over here in the UK. It's a cartridge that's always selling out as soon as it comes over and it's made, it flies out the factory with dealers. And it's also becoming quite popular with competition shooters. And I know you're going to go, a 26 gram only in a size 8? But it is, and you're going to get to see some footage today of both the plastic and the fibre really showing what a budget cartridge, which is what this is designed to do, so the recreational shooter, the club shooter, just how good this actually is and why so many people that are shooting registered comps are actually looking for this. So I'll see you on the shooting ground where you'll see me shoot, and then afterwards I'll give you some more information and clear up a couple of myths about this cartridge as well here in the UK. So I'll see you on the shooting stand. Okay, we're going to start off with the Fiocchi Lite Speed in plastic on an incoming clay. I'm going to shoot a couple of them, and I'm going to shoot straight over to fibre. So what's my conclusion of Fiocchi's Lite Speed 26 gram, only in shot size 8? As you've seen on the footage, shot it in the plastic version, on the fibre version. Which one do I prefer? Well, if I can shoot the plastic, I'll always shoot a plastic one. But the fibre, as you see from the footage, will keep up with the plastic all day. So if you're on a shooting ground, you can only shoot fibre, don't worry about it. There's nothing in it between the two really. Or if you're just somebody that just wants to shoot fibre anyway. So they're both as good as each other. Well, that's the sort of one I'd go for if I could. Now, as I said in the beginning, the appearance of it, it clearly looks like exactly what it's designed for, which is your club shooter, your recreational shooter. However, as you'll see from the footage, this is a very, very capable shell. It's not a full competition shell. It's never been designed to be, and they're not going to change it in Fiocchi land anyway to something else. It is designed for the club shooter, the recreational shooter. But you'll see from the footage, we've tackled some targets out there that would put, most club shooters would be trembling at the knees with it. But it took it out no problem at all. It's absolutely astonishing really, especially for the price of it, roughly around about plastic 250 and I think the fibre about 260, something like that. It looks like the shell that it priced at, and it's 26 gram. But what's the recoil like? It's incredibly soft. And for a cartridge at this level and this price range that's doing a speed of 1350 feet per second, that's really hopping on, to be honest. That's really getting out there. That's not like most recreational club level shells. So all in all, I can see why a lot of people go to this, especially from the price point of view, the recoil especially, and the fact that you can get it in fibre as well. As you've seen from the footage, it's cycled my UGB perfectly. So some people might think that the 8mm ferrule on this might be too short for ejection. Especially with semi-autos, the speed that they go out with the bob, I've had no problem. I've run this through a Beretta as well, through a Mossberg, and there is another auto. Well, my old L391 Beretta, and it cycled them no problem at all. And so don't worry about that you think that the 26 gram's not going to cycle a semi-auto. It will. Shot it through some over and unders, and okay, the 8mm ferrule, you might think, oh, it might slip past the ejector. It hasn't at all. It's a really well-made cartridge, like everything is from Fiocchi, really. Now, the internet is awash at the moment that you can't get these in the UK. So I'm here to clear up a bit of a myth, really. I can guarantee you, you can get these now in the UK. I've been in the warehouse, and there's lots and lots, well, there's thousands upon thousands of them, to be honest. So I've been assured from Fiocchi UK, if you want these plastic or fibre, you can get them. They're in stock, and all you got to do is go and see your Fiocchi dealer. And if they can't get them, go and see another Fiocchi dealer. And if you can't get them at all, ring Fiocchi up UK. But I can assure you, if Fiocchi tell me you can get them, you can get them. And as you've seen from the footage, a 26 gram, number 8. If a competition shooter can shoot these on registered shoots, just imagine, as you've seen from the footage, what an intermediate shoot, even an intermediate shoot, club shooter, recreational shooter, it's an absolutely astonishing shell. And on that point, I'll see you again.
That's all we've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us next month for the last episode of this year.